Today we are hiking Kanarra Falls, and I'm going to make the argument that this is the best hike for moderate hikers in Utah. I'm not a huge hiker, but I like to get out in nature, so I'll make an argument for that. You can let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure that might be a controversial opinion. Kanarra Falls is in the town of Kanarraville, which is about 40 minutes from St. George or an hour from the Visitor Center in Zion National Park. It is a slot canyon, which is a narrow canyon that's been eroded away. It's usually like sandstone or sedimentary rock. One of the most famous kind of canyons similar to this is the Zion Narrows. You do need to get a permit to come, so it's $12 a person, which is a con, but it helps preserve the trail and help it from being super crowded like a lot of the other more popular hikes in Utah are. And so it's $12 a person. You can book online, which is recommended because they do sell out. We're here our last Saturday in October, which is the fall, not super busy season, and they were sold out for the Saturday a couple days before. So make sure that you book in advance, especially if you want to come in the summer. Summer is the top time to come since you will be hiking through water. When you get here, you arrive to the parking lot, which is free and pretty spacious. There's a little kiosk where you show your tickets. Sometimes you can buy tickets in person, but like I said, it's not as likely. There is a bathroom and some picnic tables, and then you get started and you will walk 0.8 miles on this old dirt access road that goes up and down a couple times and over some spring crossings. The first 0.8 miles are just on an access road, and then you start walking on a trail along the river, and when you get to 1.3 miles, which is only 0.3 miles from the first waterfall, it's pretty much in the water. And this is where it's really helpful to have neoprene socks. We almost didn't get them, but I'm glad we did, especially in October when the water is colder. In the summer, it may not be as much a necessity because it is so hot outside, but you can get some on Amazon for $15 or $16. And you could also rent some here in St. George. I found a place for $10, so I will link those as well if you want to rent them or buy them. I did my neoprene socks with my Tevas in the water. I hiked with wool socks and my tennis shoes for the first 1.3 miles. You cross about 3 river crossings, so those are kind of easy to keep your feet more dry. Once you get to that 1.3 miles though, there's no keeping them dry. You gotta walk in the river, which is the fun part. That's the whole fun part about the hike in my opinion. Depending on the time of year, the water level will be higher. So in the spring, the water is going to actually be really cold and high because of the snow melt. The summer is a great time because you're in the water, but it's also hot, so you definitely want to do it, in the morning. It's a little bit cooler in the canyon, which is nice, but you got to be aware of that. And in October, you just have to be aware of any early snow, and just as the temperatures are dropping, it can be a little bit colder. The water isn't too deep yet, maybe mid-calf at most so far, and I think we're getting kind of close to the first waterfall. The first waterfall is the really picturesque one with the ladder next to it, and it's really beautiful. It's 1.6 miles in. You walk through a really kind of narrow slot canyon for a really short distance. The slot canyon part, I guess I don't know exactly what defines a slot canyon, but that part that's really narrow is really short. But it's super pretty. It's a nice little taste of that narrow slot canyon feel. You climb the ladder, go to the top. There's a nice little area to have a snack and take a break, drink some water, eat some snacks. And then there's another mini waterfall by a boulder. You can climb up the side of the boulder, and then you keep walking until you reach the second waterfall, and that's 1.9 miles. So the second waterfall isn't as picturesque as the first one, but I think it's worth going if you're not like really cold or tired or anything. But the water gets colder the farther you go, at least I feel like. So I'd say the neoprene socks, like I said, very recommended. The hiking poles were helpful. You can split a set between someone. We got ours from Walmart for like 20 bucks for when we did the Narrows a couple years ago. Or you could just use a stick or something to help you keep balance when you're walking on the rocks in the river. We're gonna head back now. We've seen a few people on the trail, but really not too many. There's a couple spots where it got congested, but it's been so nice to have it all to ourselves pretty much. The hike back is pretty easy because at that point you're just fully committed to walking through the water. That would be my advice. Is there's not necessarily one right way to do the footwear. I think the neoprene socks, I think I said this 3 times now, are really helpful. But like I wore my Teva sandals, my mom wore running shoes, my sister wore combat boots, my dad just used like his surf booties that are like neoprene socks but with like kind of a little bit more rubber sole on the bottom. But he also brought like shoes for the normal dirt hiking part. It does take a little bit to get to like the cool part of the hike, I guess, but I think it is a really fun hike. The reason that I would say this is the best hike in Utah is 1, you don't need any special gear to get here. It's not like you don't need a 4-wheel drive or anything. 2, it's just such an iconic Utah thing. Slot canyons, it said that Utah has the highest concentration of slot canyons, and then the red rocks, of course. 3, it's not too long, so it's not like you don't have to be super trained for it. Walking through the water is a little difficult, so you need to be able to balance and stuff, but it doesn't take a ton of training beforehand. And 4, it has waterfalls, and you see so many, and you don't have to hike super far for them. So I think everyone's gonna have their own opinion, and because I love waterfalls, maybe that's why I value waterfalls very highly. But let me know what you think. Hope you guys are able to do this hike and have a great time. Thanks for watching.